Snow drifted across the dying ranch like a silent judgment, settling on broken fences, withered fields, and the worn boots of a man who refused to quit. Caleb Hargrove had once been one of the strongest ranchers in the territory, a man known for his grit, honor, and stubborn resilience. But drought, debt, rustlers, and bad luck had carved his success down to bones. His cattle herd had thinned, the bank threatened foreclosure, and loneliness pressed heavier than the winter winds. With Christmas approaching and hope fading, Caleb made a desperate decision he never imagined he would. He sent for a mail-order bride. Not out of romance, but survival. He needed help. A partner. A second pair of hands. And perhaps, if fate was kind, a companion to warm the cold silence of his home. On Christmas Eve, a stagecoach arrived through falling snow, its lantern glowing like a wandering star. From it stepped a woman wrapped in a travel-worn coat, eyes bright despite exhaustion, posture graceful yet strong. Her name was Eleanor Whitmore. She carried only a single trunk, a modest bag, and a quiet confidence that immediately unsettled Caleb. She was not what he expected. Instead of being timid or fragile, she radiated intelligence, calm resolve, and something else, a mystery he could not yet name. Their first meeting was awkward, polite, and restrained. Caleb felt guilt for bringing a stranger into his hardships, while Eleanor sensed the burden on his shoulders. That night, snowstorm winds rattled the ranch house as they shared a simple Christmas meal, stale bread, beans, and a single candle glowing between them. Eleanor did not complain. Instead, she studied the land with thoughtful eyes, listening to Caleb describe failing harvests, dying livestock, and looming debt. But Eleanor was hiding something. The next morning, while Caleb repaired fences, Eleanor wandered the property, examining soil, inspecting tools, and peering into the abandoned barn. She asked questions, sharp, practical, and unusually informed. When Caleb admitted he could not afford to buy new cattle or equipment, Eleanor quietly opened her trunk that night. Inside were not dresses or jewelry, but notebooks, carefully wrapped instruments, business ledgers, and maps. She had not come empty-handed. She had come prepared. Days passed, and Eleanor began to work, harder than anyone Caleb had ever known. She organized finances, renegotiated supply contracts, repaired old equipment, and proposed bold changes. She suggested rotating grazing fields, improving irrigation, breeding stronger cattle lines, and using unused land for alternative income. Caleb was skeptical, but desperation pushed him to listen. Then came the revelation. Eleanor confessed her hidden talent. She was not just a hopeful bride, she was a trained agricultural strategist and former ranch manager who had saved multiple failing estates back east. She had studied land economics, livestock breeding, and sustainable farming. Her proposal to marry had not been about escaping hardship, it had been about building something meaningful. Caleb realized fate had delivered not just a bride, but the only person capable of saving his ranch. As Christmas lights flickered faintly in the window and snow fell gently outside, hope, long absent, began to return. And the real test was yet to come. With winter tightening its grip, Eleanor took command of the ranch with quiet authority. She reorganized workers, cut unnecessary expenses, and introduced innovative practices Caleb had never considered. Where he saw only failure, she saw potential. She revived abandoned grazing lands, built shelters to protect cattle from harsh weather, and introduced feed efficiency techniques that reduced costs dramatically. When rustlers threatened, Eleanor designed new security plans. When the bank demanded payment, she personally rode into town, negotiated extensions, and presented a strategic recovery plan so compelling that even skeptical investors paused. Slowly, the ranch began to breathe again. Spring arrived like a miracle. Calves were born stronger. Crops flourished. Profits returned. The ranch transformed from a place of loss into a symbol of rebirth. Word spread across the territory, the Hargrove Ranch was rising again. But the greatest transformation was not just in the land. It was in Caleb. He saw Eleanor not as a desperate arrangement, but as a remarkable woman whose strength, intelligence, and heart surpassed anything he imagined. He learned to trust her, to admire her, to love her. On the following Christmas, 1 year after her arrival, the ranch stood prosperous, alive, and glowing with lanterns. Laughter echoed across the property. The bank debt was paid. The cattle herd was thriving. The home once cold now radiated warmth. That night, under falling snow and a sky full of stars, Caleb thanked Eleanor for saving his ranch. She smiled and answered softly, "I didn't just come to save your ranch. I came to build our future." As they stood together, hand in hand, it became clear, the greatest Christmas gift had not been wealth, or land, or survival. It had been love, courage, and the miracle of second chances. Subscribe to the channel.